A mostly dry, if not completely dry day has again taken over the state as we had hope on Sunday for some rainfall, but today came in and said absolutely not and dropped us with no rainfall. But there is relief still on the way. Increasing shower chances as we get Tuesday night going into Wednesday. Rain chances increase again as we get later into the weekend. And maybe even a little low end severe weather risk as we go into Wednesday. All of that we're going to talk about. Make sure you go and hit the like button, hit the subscribe button if you have not already. Also hit the share button, share with your friends, family members, acquaintances, people that you don't talk to regularly. It's free. Let's first go on and talk about what's going on throughout the entire U.S. Well, right now, South Carolina, we are nice and dry. But if we look at the entire U.S., we do in fact have some rainfall going on. We have rainfall going on over here in the west, from Washington down into the Four Corners area over into California. Some severe weather going on over here inside of Texas, and then even some severe weather with some tornado warnings going on in Missouri, Illinois. Some more severe thunderstorm warnings going on in Indiana as well. And then also some other severe or some other strong storms trying to push through as we go into Kentucky. Now, if we go on and see what's going on throughout the entire state of South Carolina cloud cover wise, well, cloud cover, it looks like we are looking at some kind of cloudy conditions near like the low country area, but look at the upstate, look at the Midlands, look at the PD, the Grand Strand. Not looking that bad. Definitely not looking that bad at all. So I do think that we will take a little bit of a step forward towards clear conditions. How long will that last though? Well, let's go on and check it out. Well, right now, go on and push this forward going into tomorrow. It looks like tomorrow is going to be a pretty cloudy day as we get to around 10 o'clock in the morning on Tuesday, going to around 1 o'clock p.m. on Tuesday, all the way through. And then once we get into the evening hours of Tuesday, things start to get a little bit more, on the cloudier side. Even as you get into around Tuesday evening, we're still seeing some cloudy conditions all the way through Wednesday, getting into Wednesday night. Look at this. Still cloudy. So a cloudy next 48 hours is definitely in the forecast. Current temperatures right now, we have around a good 60 in Somerville, as well as 60 in Charleston, 62 Beaufort, and 63 in Hilton Head Island, 59 Georgetown, and 59 in Conway, 61 Florence, and 62 in Hartsville, 60 Lancaster, 59 in Rock Hill, 60 in Gaffney, 61 Greenville, Spartanburg, as well as 63 over here inside of Clemson. Now, if we go in and look at our air quality, we are looking in the good category, which is great. But there are a couple of spots that are inside of the moderate category. So, not the worst. Definitely not the worst. But not entirely statewide are we looking at good conditions. But mostly we are. Low temperatures for tonight, we're talking about around 51 in Spartanburg, 50 Rock Hill, 53 Greenville, 54 Anderson, 51 Columbia, 51 Orangeburg, Moncks Corner, 59 in Charleston, 52 Georgetown, 54 in Myrtle Beach. And then for our high temperatures for tomorrow, we're talking about 70, 72 in Greenville, 73 Spartanburg, 74 Rock Hill, and 79 in Columbia, 78 inside of Sumter, and 77 in Florence, 80 Moncks Corner, 77 in Charleston, and 81 in Barnwell, as well as 72 in Myrtle Beach. Rainfall, as we get throughout the next 24 hours, it's looking like it's going to be a pretty nice time for like the Midlands, the Low Country, the Grand Strand, the PD areas, but the upstate may receive some rainfall, 100th of an inch to a 10th of an inch, maybe even all the way up to around a 10th of an inch to a quarter of an inch as we go throughout the next 24 hours. In terms of the SPC outlook, thunderstorms are possible. If somehow a shower does get going, which I don't really think is going to happen tonight. If somehow a shower does get going, it definitely will have that opportunity to potentially turn into a thunderstorm. But again, I don't think that will be until around like tomorrow morning, because we get some shower activity that starts to move through the state as we get into tomorrow morning, and we'll talk about that. Now, if we go on and look at the SPC outlook for tomorrow, thunderstorms are possible almost statewide. I mean, we're talking about the upstate, the Midlands, the PD, not the Grand Strand, but definitely a good amount of the Low Country. And then for Wednesday, everybody has a chance of a thunderstorm on Wednesday. And some severe weather is definitely possible. Yes, severe weather, marginal risk of severe weather up there, just to the north, up there near Rock Hill, and also near Florence as well, just to the north of Florence, I should say, up more along northern I-95. So we're looking at this, and it doesn't look like the most active, the most just out of the ordinary severe weather system, but it's definitely something to just watch for and just see what happens. Definitely just to watch for and see what happens because, this could expand. This marginal risk could expand more into the state. It could shrink and not become a thing anymore. The only time will tell. Fire weather, we're good here, so we don't have to worry about that. In terms of excessive rainfall, that risk of excessive rainfall that we had for tomorrow is gone, so we don't have to worry about that anymore either. And then if we go on and look at the crazy score, if you have no idea what the crazy score is, it is a score that we see how active our conditions are throughout the entire state of South Carolina. Now, remember, this is only for tonight. This is not for tomorrow. This is not for the night after. This is only just for tonight. And so if we go on and look at it right now, we right now are actually at a 12. We're at a 12 inside that calm category. And you probably can guess why, but mostly clear, patchy, cloudy skies statewide. We're talking about light winds, completely dry, zero chance of precipitation for tonight until we get to tomorrow morning. And then, as we get more and more into this week, that statewide burn ban is still in effect. They still have not lifted it completely yet. They still have not lifted it completely yet. So we're going to go on and continue to watch and see, what happens with it. But for right now, they still have not lifted the statewide burn ban, so you still should not be burning anything, even though it's been a while. You still should not be burning anything. Still should not be. So let's go on now and look at our future, and we're going to talk about the models. But with these models, honestly, we're going to have to look at the NAM 3-kilometer model if we want to take a good look at Wednesday, which we will go on and look at. But we're going to look at the models for the short-term future, obviously the long-term future. And just as we go on and just start off with the HRRR, that being the short-term one. Short-term right now, showing nice dry conditions, obviously, for tonight. That's expected. We go through to around 3 o'clock, 4, 5, 6 o'clock a.m. Nothing too bad. Get you around 7 to 8. You may see like some scattered showers here and there, but for the most part, we're looking pretty good still. Get you around 9 to 10 a.m. Look at this rainfall. Barely anything. I mean, even if we get to around 12 p.m., you may see some rainfall in the Midlands. Will it accumulate? That's a pretty big question, as it mainly just seems like some light shower activity. I'm not seeing anything too active, just besides maybe some rainfall that's going to occur for like, I don't know, at the most like 20, 30 minutes. Obviously, with these hour increments, it's kind of hard to tell. But just in general, the rainfall accumulation is going to be pretty spotty. And so, obviously, I know we just looked and we just saw that the only rainfall that we were really expecting that it would actually accumulate is the upstate. But it would not surprise me at all if they went on and expanded this down more into the Midlands. So we'll see what happens. But I do believe that we will have to go on and continue to watch and just see what's going to happen for our future with these temperatures here. Not these temperatures, but with the showers that move through here, not temperatures. Now, going back, we're going to go back to here to around 1 o'clock p.m. on Tuesday. And as we just push this forward again, the rest of Tuesday looks pretty good. Tuesday night comes along, though. Look at how we get into Wednesday. There goes our big rain cluster right here that's going to move through, bring us some very beneficial rainfall. Wednesday, here we are at 6 o'clock in the morning. Nice rainfall moving throughout the state. Very nice rainfall moving throughout the state. Even as you get to around 8 o'clock in the morning on Wednesday. And it looks like it's going to be a late night threat more than anything on Wednesday morning going into Tuesday night. So I hope that most of that rainfall just moves in during the nighttime hours so that during the daytime, you can actually go outside and enjoy the day, obviously with the rainfall falling. Now, there still will be some rainfall falling during the day on Wednesday, but I mean, this is obviously very much needed, and honestly, it doesn't matter what time it falls. It just needs to fall. That's the whole point. Because we want this drought to get out of here as quickly as it can. And so Wednesday definitely does look like a good day. Now, how much rainfall are we talking about for like the next 48 hours or so? Obviously, it will change, but I mean, for right now, we're talking about potentially a good amount, especially up here for the more midland, more upstate areas, around an inch or so. You're only seeing around a tenth of an inch. Remember, this is only one model run here. We'll look at the official forecast from the National Weather Service. But they say only around like a tenth of an inch or so in the upstate. I mean, again, it's going to be spread out. You see 3/10 over here in other parts of the upstate. You see maybe around an inch or so near close to Rock Hill. You're talking about 3/10 near Columbia. But if we go on and look at it from the actual forecast and look at it from the actual Weather Prediction Center, if we go through the next 48 hours, look how much rainfall we're going to receive here. Seems like right now that they're more on the 7/10 of an inch of rain in the upstate, maybe more near like a half an inch near Columbia, 3/10 of an inch near Myrtle Beach, maybe even a tenth of an inch or so near Charleston. But rain is rain. Rain is rain at this point, and even if you get it only a tenth of an inch, definitely better than nothing. And so obviously, I hope that everyone can get more towards that half an inch mark, but obviously, some areas probably won't. I think that probably the more we get into the coastal areas, the more we get towards the east, probably the less amount of rainfall you're probably going to receive. Now, if we go back and look at the NAM 3 kilometer model as well, see how much rainfall they're talking about over here. The NAM is showing around not too much more than the HRRR. Is still showing around a tenth of an inch almost statewide, but you see a couple of pockets of 0.3, 0.5, 0.6, 1 inch over here near Aiken. So it's overall just all over the place. So it's going to be really hard to go on and get exact forecast totals for all of these locations just because models right now are just all over the place right now. All over the place. Let's see what is going on here in terms of severe weather, because obviously we do have a chance of severe weather on Wednesday. If we go on and look at the dew points, if we go on and check it out, it looks like that we definitely have the moisture. We have the moisture here. We're talking about up into the 60s or so, and this goes when into Wednesday, 12 p.m., 2 p.m., yeah. So the moisture is here. Moisture is here. If we look at the Cape inside the atmosphere, the Cape right now seems to be more than likely with us as well. I mean, we're talking about around 1,200. I even see around a good 1,300. So the Cape is in the atmosphere with us, and this goes all the way through into around Wednesday evening as well. So Cape is with us in the atmosphere, and if we go on and look at the wind up in the atmosphere, we're going to be looking at the 500 millibar winds. 500 millibar, I mean, it has it up. I mean, you're seeing around 60 knots up here, and I think that strongest chance of severe weather will probably happen more inside of the northern parts of the state, at the upstate, the northern PD areas. So I think those areas will probably be the more like impacted. But it would not surprise me if they move that marginal risk down that they have down more south into like more like the Grand Strand area, more of the Midland areas as well. So we'll see what they have. But again, this is what it currently looks like for Wednesday. That dark green area may shift down more. So let's go on and look at the models for the future. We're going to start off here with the GFS, and we're going to start off here Wednesday, 2 o'clock p.m. We push this forward, and obviously we have rainfall moving through. Even on Thursday, we have some rainfall moving through. We get into around Friday. Friday comes along. We have some rainfall going through the state, low country, southern Midlands, also throughout the Grand Strand areas. Saturday comes along, going into the weekend. We have another storm system trying to move through. Maybe a cold front or so trying to go through as we go into around Saturday. But then as we move into Sunday kind of things start to calm down. Monday going into Tuesday and Wednesday comes along. And now we have just some more quiet conditions. But then watch as we get into the end of next week, going to May the 8th or so, somewhere around there, another cold front, another system trying to move through as we get into Friday of next week. And then past that, again, more dry activity. And that dry activity there may be there for a good little minute. So back and forth weather of seeing dry patterns, active patterns, but I've said this almost every day for like the past week or two, but this drought's going to have to trickle its way down. It won't be able to go all at one time. It's going to have to just continue to trickle its way down, just because if we get all that rainfall at one time, that's going to cause flooding issues. I mean, that's going to cause that. I mean, that would need like 8 to 10, probably even up to around a foot of rainfall to go on and get this drought completely out of here. And so, if we got that all at one time, that would just be a catastrophe. So we need to just get this rainfall at settle increments, because I mean we're way too far past the point of just trying to get this drought out at once. Now, if we go on and look at even further into the future in terms of our total precipitation, so how much rainfall we're gonna see as we go throughout the next 300, 400 hours or so, the deterministic model, this is just the one GFS model right here, it shows a good amount, maybe max around 5 to 6 inches or so up in the upstate, but that's not, of course, that's not the actual official prediction from the ensembles. This is just one model run, so of course that can show whatever. But if we look at the GEFS, this is more of a composite, more of a mean. So now we actually can see averages. And right now it's saying as we go throughout the next 400 hours or so, we're going to be talking about around 2 to 3 inches of rainfall statewide. Will that happen? Only time will tell. But this is a good indicator to show, are we going to get that rainfall? What's the pattern looking like? And just everything combined with that. And so, like, obviously we have this rainfall system that's moving through this week. May have another one later this week. Obviously, and then as we get more and more into May, we're going to start talking about even more rainfall events. Now, but that's all I have to say in terms of precipitation. So let's go and look at the temperatures. We're going to start off here at around 6 o'clock, 6 hours out from now at 8 p.m. tonight. So about like an hour ago. As we go in and push this forward, go through Tuesday, going into Wednesday, we see cooler temperatures, here and there, but it's definitely not the worst. You see around 10 to 15 degrees below average, but watch as we get into this weekend, Saturday, 5 p.m. We're talking about temperatures down 20 to 30 degrees below average as we get into this weekend. I mean, that is a huge drop right there. Huge drop. We get into Sunday. Sunday comes along still around 10 to 15 degrees below average. We go on into Tuesday, going on into Wednesday. We have some more warmer air kind of just moving throughout as we move a bit into the end parts of next week. But don't worry, cold air is coming back. Cold air is coming back. So this warm temperatures, these 90s that we were seeing, those are about to end for a little bit. Even if we go in and look at the temperatures for the future in terms of exact temperatures. I mean, right now we're looking, we see some 70s, we see some 80s, and that's definitely possible. But 90s, I don't see that on the equation or on the table at all, just as we continue through into next week. I mean, we're talking about Friday going into Saturday, and also going into Sunday of this weekend. I mean, we're seeing high or low temperatures, I should say, Saturday night going into Sunday down to the 40s again. Maybe even some more 40s as we go into Sunday night, going into Monday of next week. High temperatures bringing up into around like the 70s or so. Maybe some 80s here and there, but again, the next time we may see 90s, it may not be until a bit further into next week. And again, that's just the deterministic, and that's 200 hours out, so that could easily change. But if we go in and look at the GEFS and look at the actual official temperatures for the averages, I mean, the averages right now are only showing maybe some 70s, some 80s, but nothing too close to 90. And things definitely do stay kind of just relatively in the 60s, 70s, 80s as we move more and more into May. But obviously with these cold blasts trying to come in, that could obviously hinder especially those low temperatures as well. But that's all I have to say here in terms of the entire state of South Carolina long-term wise. And I do not believe that there's anything to talk about in terms of earthquakes. Yeah, nothing for tonight. So let's go on now and talk with the audience. If you want to be part of the audience, you can by joining us here at 9 o'clock p.m. Eastern Time. Let's see what the audience has to say for tonight. Starting off with Monalula first. She says, good evening, everyone. Good evening to you. Then Mr. Chris says, good evening, everyone. Hope you had a great day. Well, I did. Thank you so much for that. I only got to around 64 here at Monk's Corner. Currently, it's 57. Well, at my house right now, it is, again, my thing has been having a heat badge for the past couple of days, but we'll see what it looks like now. It's looking like it's around 54 right now, and it said the high temperature today was around 66, so yeah, that makes more sense. That makes way more sense. And then my Aunt Lulu again says, hopefully everyone had a wonderful day. Today's time was around 64, somewhat chilly. Currently it's around 59. Mr. Chris has started off very cloudy but cleared up this afternoon. Same at my house. My name says, hello Jay, hello to you. And then my Aunt Lulu says, we start off with lots of sunshine. Not used to this change in temperature. Well, obviously once we get more and more into especially fall and spring, this is where those cold fronts really start to take a bit more of a hit. And, these warm temperatures take a bit more of a hit as well as we get more and more into these switching times because, it's not just like it's winter, it's not just like it's summertime. We're looking at the in-between. Then Maya Lou says, prayerfully we will get stuck on warm weather. Well, unfortunately, looks like some cooler weather is definitely coming. Doesn't mean that we're going to be down into the 30s for lows, but it does mean it's not going to be as warm probably as it has been. Then continuing on down, Mr. Chris says, please remember to go on and hit the like button and the subscribe button. Also share with everyone that you know it's free. Helps the channel grow. Absolutely. Right now we've had around a good 11 people tune in and we only have 7 likes, so go and hit the like button. My cousin Cheryl comes in and says, good evening, weatherman. Good evening, everyone. It was a very nice day in Philadelphia today. I hope everyone had a pleasant start of the week. Do your thing, weatherman. Be blessed. I love you all. Well, thank you so much for that. Mr. Chris says, please tell me that the temperature will be up. Yeah, unfortunately, it seems like it's going to be maybe a bit below average. Now, obviously, like I just said to my Aunt Lula just a little bit ago, that temperature, it's not going to be like 60s for highs and then like 30s for lows. Now, I mean, there may be some nights to where or some days to where we may be seeing around 60s for highs, but it doesn't necessarily mean that every day is going to be like that. We're going to see some 70s, we're going to see some 80s, but it's not going to be, especially as we get more into like the end of this week, going into the early parts of next week, it's not going to be as warm as it has been. And of course, yeah, we may have those days to where some of us may be up into the 80s. Then my Aunt Lou says, if I'm not mistaken, early morning it seems as though I heard a hit or miss shower on my roof. This morning when I was recording it was not raining at all throughout the entire state. So, I know Sunday morning that was definitely possible, but this morning, I didn't see anything on the radar this morning. So unless it was very, very, very light rainfall and a very, very, very light shower that the radar could not pick up, there was no rainfall. Then local news reported that rain will come in on Wednesday. That is correct. I've paid attention to my local weather. They continue our way down. Thad says, good evening, just from the 360 Weather family. Sorry for my absence the last few days. I've been a bit under the weather. I trust all is well with everyone. Well, I'm kind of in the same boat as you right now. My voice sounds absolutely terrible right now. But, obviously not going to stop the forecast from coming out. Milo says, Georgetown did not have any windy conditions at all today. It was very windy this morning, but calmed down this afternoon. Honestly, because the cold front moved in as you went into around yesterday. So maybe just some leftover wind from the cold front, but it honestly wasn't that windy this morning where I was. That says, beautiful day here in San Antonio, nice and sunny, not too hot, slightly cloudy, high of 91, perfect for melting ice cream. And then Mr. Anthony comes in and says, good evening, everyone, good evening to you. Continue our way down. I'm glad you guys got some rain. Right, some rain is better than no rain. Trail says, greetings, everyone. Greetings to you. And then Milo says, I read on the internet that we should not plant tomatoes at this time because of the cold weather, because tomatoes will not survive at anything below 50 degrees. I'm not the biggest plant person. I know Thad is a pretty big plant person, so maybe he can answer that. But I'm not the biggest plant person, so I would not be able to really answer that for you, really. But I mean, that's definitely a possibility. Only thing I can give you is, the weather for it and say, and you just need to give me the conditions, and I got you with the temperatures. 100%. And that's all that I can see here throughout the chat. So let's go on now and talk about the four areas outside of South Carolina. You might be asking, four areas outside of South Carolina. What am I talking about? I'm talking about San Antonio, Texas, Raleigh, North Carolina, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, as well as Duncan, Oklahoma. The reason why we talk about these four areas is because we have people from these areas who tune in almost nightly. And because they tune in almost nightly, we go on and give them their forecast for them. So we start off with San Antonio first, as always, with low temperatures tonight at around a good 75. High temperature for tomorrow at 94, and the low temperatures tomorrow night going to be at around 74. No precipitation is expected. No precipitation is expected at this time, so you don't have to really worry about that. But one thing I will say is that as you get more and more into like the midweek, Wednesday going all the way through Friday, going even into the weekend a little bit, it's going to be active. I mean, a chance of thunderstorms pretty much almost every single day as you continue to the weekend. So tomorrow is pretty much going to be like your last fully dry, no chance of rainfall day. Now, if you go on and talk about your severe weather, your excessive rainfall, I mean, right now it definitely does not look too bad. Definitely does not look too bad at all, as you have no risk of any sort of excessive rainfall. And then in terms of, let me check this out real quick. You do have a chance of some excessive rainfall, that being on Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. It just popped up for me. But honestly, I don't know why they have one for tonight. That's kind of odd. You have no chance of rainfall for tonight. Let me make sure I'm looking at the right one. Yeah, I am. So, kind of weird how they have that like that. But if you go into Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, you have a chance of excessive rainfall those 3 days. So just make sure that you are aware. Make sure that you are, if you are in a flood-prone area, that you're paying attention. But if you even go in and look at your severe weather again, let me make sure that I got that. You have a risk of severe weather on Wednesday, April the 29th. Same day as South Carolina having their chance of severe weather as well. So who knows? Both may see severe weather at the same time. Probably not, but I mean, it may happen. They do not have the risk out yet, so we're just gonna have to wait and see what happens there. Now, for your future, it does look like right now that you will have temperatures kind of just remaining to stay in the 90s until you get to around Thursday. Thursday comes along, and we're talking about more mid 80s. Friday, we're talking about some more 80s. But then as you get into Sunday, going into this weekend, we're going to be talking about more 70s as well for you. And so that was definitely a good amount. Definitely a good amount for when it came over towards San Antonio. But your weather over there is going to continue to start getting more active. In fact, even tomorrow, you're going to be talking about some heat index values up to 102 degrees. Yes, 102 degrees tomorrow. So let's go on now and talk about Raleigh, North Carolina. Raleigh, you have low temperatures tonight at around 46. High temperature for tomorrow at 72. And then low temperatures tomorrow night at 56. No precipitation tonight, but tomorrow there is a slight chance of showers as you get into tomorrow and tomorrow night as well. So make sure that you are aware of that. In terms of your severe weather, excessive rainfall, you have a risk of severe weather on Wednesday. Wednesday, not tomorrow, but Wednesday you do. And then for excessive rainfall for you, it looks like that you are in the clear. Looks like that you're in the clear. So in terms of your future for you honestly looks like you're going to continue to remain in the 70s. You're not really going to leave the 70s. In fact, you're going to be all the way through the 70s as you get into next week. Rainfall is going to continue through Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Take a little bit of a break Friday night, though, going in around Saturday, Sunday. Looking like it could be a little bit more, definitely could be a little bit more active as you go throughout those couple of days there. Then next up, as we go over into Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, you have low temperatures tonight going to be at around a good 45. High temperature for tomorrow at 69, and then low temperatures tomorrow night at around 50. No precipitation for you at all. No precipitation. Severe weather and excessive rainfall for you also not expected at this time. And then for your future, it looks like that you will continue to kind of just remain into the 60s. And then as you go more into the weekend, still just seeing some 60s as you go throughout. So just beware of that. But honestly, nothing too much to talk about for you. Not too much. It's just not too much going on. And then the final location, which I always say is probably the most active. Right now, it honestly may not be, but it's still going to be pretty active regardless. But if we go on real quick and shift on over there, we're talking about Duncan, Oklahoma. With low temperatures tonight going to be around 60, high temperature for tomorrow at around 85, and then low temperatures tomorrow night at 52. No precipitation is expected at this time tonight, but tomorrow there is a chance of thunderstorms and a slight chance of showers as you get into tomorrow night as well. In terms of severe weather, excessive rainfall for you, you look like that you are about done with severe weather and excessive rainfall. You have nothing for tonight, nothing really for tomorrow. And then as you go into, you may have something on Thursday for some isolated flash flooding on Thursday, but for right now, you don't have anything too much to really watch out for. For your future, looks like temperatures are going to drop down to the 60s as you go more and more into this weekend, but then as you get into Sunday and Monday of next week, more 80s coming along. And that's all that I can see here throughout the 4 areas outside of South Carolina. So let's go on now and see what's going on throughout the entire U.S. weather news-wise. As for right now, it does seem like severe thunderstorms will persist tonight across the middle Mississippi Valley, producing damaging winds, large to very large hail, and several tornadoes. Low humidity and windy conditions will also continue to produce elevated to critical fire weather conditions across the southern high plains into the midweek. And so I think, definitely the most talked about thing for, easily today is the severe weather that's going on. And then tomorrow there's another risk of severe weather, southeastern Oklahoma, parts of Texas, going on into Arkansas, Louisiana getting in on some more as well. Overall, it's just a lot of things. A lot of severe weather that's going on as we go into not only just tomorrow with areas like Dallas, like Shreveport, like Birmingham, like over inside of Memphis, like Nashville, Knoxville, Louisville, Austin, Texas. Those areas have a chance of severe weather for tomorrow, but also on day 3, Houston, San Antonio, Charlotte, Washington, D.C., these areas have a risk of severe weather as well as you go into day 3, that being on Wednesday. But I believe that's all that I have to say here in terms of severe weather for the future and just what's going on in the future. So let's see what's going on right now with the chat one more time, see if we have anything here. Let's see. Mr. Chris says, everyone, please remember to stay safe and hydrated. Just recheck my temperature. It's around 57 right now. Well, thank you so much for that weather report for where you are. Do I have any pictures sent in for tonight? No, not for tonight. So I believe that is all there. And then top fans of the night for tonight. Nothing new tonight. Nothing to quiz anybody on tonight. But, when it happens, it happens. You won't know when it happens. So make sure that you're paying attention. As we continue our way down, let's see. We have around a good 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. And then I see around 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. Yeah. So Mr. Chris did win it for tonight. Milo is at number 2. And then, if I'm not mistaken, that is at number 3. So congratulations to the 3 of y'all for being the top fans of the night for tonight. If you want to be part of the top fans, you can by joining us here at 9 o'clock p.m. Eastern Time. And being here active and being a subscriber. Because if you're not a subscriber, you can't type anyway. So let's go and give them 3 a round of applause. I will be back tomorrow morning for your Tuesday morning forecast update. Also tomorrow evening for your Tuesday evening forecast update. Make sure that you're there for that. And then make sure you hit those 2 buttons before you leave. 731 subscribers trying to get to 800. And share. Share with your friends, family members, acquaintances, people that you don't talk to regularly. I will be back tomorrow morning for your Tuesday morning forecast update. Everyone have a fantastic rest of your Monday.